Hello. Yeah. Namaste Divya Harini. I've muted you, Divya. If you want to say something, unmute and so we will start the session. Today's session is to cover the important quotations, basically those that have been asked in the exams, where they'll give the quotation and ask us to explain with reference to context and all that what is actually conveyed through this. That I have just ordered it in the proper text order, whatever order it is there in the text. So we will see in that order. This way we will get an idea of the entire content of Dhvanyaaloka, what has been covered in the Dhvanyaaloka text. So here I'm not getting into details of the specific aspects and those. If required, we will have a separate session. Here the focus is on those specific quotations and trying to understand the meaning and being able to write the answer for that quotation in the exam. I'll begin with this. So this is the Pratama Udyotaha. Starts with the Mangala Shloka. Swachha Kesarinah Swachho Sachaya Yasitendavah Trayantam Vo Maduripoho Prapannati Chido Nakaha. So we have seen in Tarka Sangraha itself that every work they start with Mangala Shloka so that it ends properly, the completion is happening properly. So here the Mangala Shloka for Dhvanyaaloka is praising Narasimha. Swachha Kesarinaha. By his own desire, he took the form of Kesari. Swachha Kesarinaha. Swachha Swachhaya Asitendavaha. Swachha Swachhaya Asitendavaha. Asitaha Indavaha. So the moon became shy and it felt ashamed looking at his shining white nails. So his nails were shining so much that the moon felt bad that its brightness is not so much compared to that of his nails. Trayantam vaham maduripoho prapannarti chido nakaha. So this is actually praising the nakaha. Whose naka? Maduripoho. The killer of Madhu here, Narsimha, who killed Madhu. So who's the enemy of Madhu? Maduripoho nakaha. कीदृशः सः स्वच्छा केसरिणः मधुरिपोः नकाः. So he is a swachha kesari. By his own will he took the form of the lion, and his nails are shining so much that it is causing the moon to feel ashamed, and let him protect us. Prapannarti chidaha. So Prapannarti chidaha, those who surrender onto him, their arti, their sorrow, their pain are all destroyed. So here the speciality of this Mangala Shloka is it at a very high level it summarizes the main message of this work, which is Dhvani is the soul of poetry, and in the Dhvani there are three types of Dhvani: Vastudhvani, Alankara Dhvani, and Rasadhvani. So here Vastudhvani is to indirectly or suggestively convey an idea. Here there are many ideas that are conveyed that he is very powerful because of his own desire. He took the form and he has killed Madhu, and he can destroy the sorrow of those who surrender to him. So those ideas are that he is very powerful and he can protect us. That is the Vastudhvani there. And even that his nails are brighter than the moon. That is one thing. And Alankara Dhvani, so when we see here the Vyatireka is there. When you say somebody is more beautiful than moon, usually we compare them to moon, but when we say some face is more beautiful than moon, that becomes Vyatireka, where the Upama is given a lower position and Upameya gains a higher position. So here it is Vyatireka, but it is indirectly conveyed that it is brighter than the moon. So since it is indirect, or since it is suggestive, it becomes Alankara Dhvani. And finally the Rasa. here is that his we can take it as his Veera and how he is ready to protect us, and the Bhakti Bhava is there. So all these are they form the Rasadhvani. So that is about the Mangala Shloka. Moving on. So in the first Karika itself, the text is divided into Karikas and Vartika. Karika are the if they are in the type of sutras. So it is mentioned the definition or whatever has to be conveyed, it will be mentioned in a cryptic form. Then there are vritti to explain it, elaborate it further. There are doubts whether both have been written by the same person, but we accept that it has to be written by the same person, though there are differences of opinion. So here, in the first Karika itself of the first Udyota, he clarifies why he is writing this work. So we usually say for any text there is this Anubandha Chatushtayam, the four aspects that need to be conveyed about why a person is writing this work, how is he eligible, who are all eligible to read this, what is the matter that is covered. So all of these are covered in the first Karika, which says Kavyasyatma Dhvaniriti Budhaihi Yaha Samamnaya Purvas Tatsya Bhavam Jagadurapare Bhaktamahustamanye Kechid Vacham Stitama Vishaye Tatvamuchustadiyam Tena Bruma Sahridaya Manafpritaye Tatswarupam. Tatswarupam Bruma. I'm going to explain its form. Whose form? Kavyasya Atma Dhvanihi. Iti Budhaihi Yaha Samamnata Purvaihi. Even the earlier wise men or the Alankarikas, they have already told that Kavyasya Atma, the main soul of poetry is Dhvani. So it's not that I'm saying something new. But there are people, Tasya Abhavam Jagaduhu Apare Bhaktamahuhu Tamanye. So certain people say that it doesn't exist, and certain other people say that Bhaktamahuhu. They say that it is same as Bhakti. We will see what Bhakti is. And Kechit Vacham Stitam Avishaye Tattvamuchustadiyam. Some say that it is Nirvachaniya. You can't explain what it is. So don't get into all that. It is just to be experienced, and not something that you would actually explain how it happens and all. So for Tena Brumaha Sahridaya Manafpritiye, to satisfy the Sahridayas, I am going to explain its form, the form of Dhvani. So coming to what is Bhakti, there are three types of meanings. One is the literal Koshartha, that is a primary Mukyartha, it becomes a Mukyartha. That is a literal meaning what you would find in a dictionary. The second is the Lakshanartha or Abhida, first one is Abhida, the next one is Lakshanartha or this Bhakti. Here, examples, we will take some examples, you can understand it faster. When we say Lavanya, or when we say Karmani Kushalaha, or when we even say that Gangayam Goshaha, so there, by definition, what it means is Lakshana. There has to be Mukyartha Bhada. The main meaning will not apply. You can't say Gangayam Goshaha. There is some hamlet on the river itself, on the stream of Ganga. So there is an obstruction to the primary meaning, and we take some other related meaning, something very relatable to the primary meaning. So in case of Gangayam Goshaha, we take on the banks of Ganga. And for this Lakshanartha, there are further conditions, like when we could do this. It says that, yeah, first thing is the primary meaning has to be abstracted, and when we do it is, there are two situations. One is by Rudi. This Lavanya, it means the special effect that is created by adding salt to the food. Same way, she has a special charm. A person having a special charm is indicated, that quality is indicated by the term Lavanya. And in Karmani Kushalaha, a skillful person. The term refers to a skillful person, but literally it means a brahmana who has been smart enough in his work that he knows how to take out the darbha grass, and he carries always readily, has it available with him, the darbha grass. So such a person is karmani kushalaha. But when we say even in any other work, when we say kushalaha, so it doesn't relate to in any way to darbha grass, but it just means that skillful, has the expertise, all that it indicates. So one is by rudi we have certain meaning, another is for a specific reason it is told that way. For example, in Gangayam Goshaha, to indicate the Shitalatvam, Pavanatvam, that it is very the sanctity of Ganga and how cold it is and how fertile his land will be. To indicate all that, the milkman tells that lady, Gangayam Goshaha. So that way, that is bhakti. So that is well, the first one is the denoted meaning. The second one is the indicated meaning. This Lakshanartha is the indicated meaning. And here in the first Karika itself, Anandavardhana clarifies that Dhvani is neither of these. It is the third meaning, which is the suggested meaning or Vengyartha. Moving on, he introduces about Dhvani in the next Karika. Yoartha sahridaya shlagyaha kavyameti vyavastitah kavyatmeti vyavastitah. Yoartha sahridaya shlagyaha काव्यात्मेति व्यवस्थितः वाच्य प्रतीयमानाख्यौ तस्य भेदौ उभौ स्मृतौ. So he says there are two main meanings which cause the critics or the sahridayas the happiness in them, shlagya, they admire it. Those are the kavya atma, and those are the Vachyartha and Pratyamana Artha. So they are named Akhyav. They are called as Vachya and Pratyamana Artha. So these are the two types which cause happiness to the sensitive critics. Vachyartha and Pratyamana. Here Pratyamana Artha is the Dhvanyartha. So since the Vachyartha has been elaborately described, at that point of time everybody was aware of what was Vachyartha and even this Lakshanartha. He is saying that he is going to get into the third one, which is Dhvani, and he is going to elaborate on that. So that is what he says in this fourth Karika. Pratiyamanam punaranyadeva vastvasti vaneshu mahakavinam yattat प्रसिद्धावयवातिरिक्तं विभाति लावण्यं विवाङ्गनासु. So pratiyamanam punar anyadeva. So the one that flashes, that is different from the mukhyartha, the main koshartha or abhida. And vastu asti vanishu mahakavinam. So this is available in the words of Mahakavis. Yattat prasiddha avayava atiriktam vibhati lavanyam iva anganasu. Anganasu in women. How we are able to see a lavanyam, a charm, which we are not able to pinpoint to a specific anga. She is beautiful because of her nose, or she is beautiful because of her eyes, but overall we say she has some kind of a beauty which is beyond specific parts. Like that, how lavanyam is beyond the avayava, the beauty of the avayava or the saundaryam of the avayava. Here, instead of looking at specific aspects like this alankara and all that, there is something else which gives the overall beauty to the kavya. And pratiyamanam, it is something that flashes to us, that is suggestive, that is not mentioned in a straightforward manner. So this exists, and he elaborates on that, explaining how that is the dhvani. He gets into giving some examples for us to get an idea of what dhvani is. So here सहि कदाचित् वाच्ये विधिरूपे प्रतिषेधरूपः. So vachye vidirupe, the literal meaning would say go do it, but pratisheda rupah, actually it would mean that don't do it. For that he gives an example of this brahma dharmika vishrabdah sa sunakodhya maritastena godavari nadikula latagahana vasina drupta simhena. Here literally it means go brahma, roam about. Hey dharmika, go roam about. Sa sunakah adhya maritah tena, that sunaka, the dog has been killed. Kena tena tena gahana vasina, lata gahana vasina, godavari nadikula lata gahana vasina drupta simhena. So the ferocious lion who is residing in the Godavari banks, in that forest, that Sinha has killed the dog, so you can now freely roam about. But though it says freely roam about, it said earlier we were having only the problem of dog. Now there is this problem of lion. So definitely you can't freely roam about. So that is the suggestive meaning. So though the denotive conventional meaning says positive do something, the actual suggestive idea could be don't do it. It prohibits them from doing it. Similarly, on the other side, the Kavi might be saying explicitly don't do something, but the meaning would be please do it. So for that the example is given. श्वशूरत्र शेते अथवा निवज्जति अत्राहं दिवसकं प्रलोक्य मा पतिक रात्र्यान्दः शय्यायामावयोः सयिष्टाः. A traveler has come to this house where this lady is with her in-laws and her husband has gone on a long tour. So she is showing him the house. She is saying, see, here is where my in-laws will be sleeping, and atra aham, this is where I will be sleeping. Divasakam pralokya, just see all of these during the daytime itself. Ma patika ratryandaha, in the night, blinded by the darkness, shayyayam avayoho ma sayishtaha, don't fall on our beds. So actually it is she is calling him to come over at night time, asking him to note down where she is sleeping and clearly note down where her in-laws are sleeping. So this way the suggested meaning is definitely different from what is conveyed literally, and neither there is any scope for considering it as bhakti, because bhakti can be taken or the lakshyartha can be taken only if there is the main meaning could not be taken, like simhoyam manavakah, this boy is a lion. So the literal meaning cannot be taken. We can't take that boy to be a lion. So we take only that aspect. So he is very brave and he is the head and all that. So that way the lakshanartha can be taken only when it hampers the main meaning. Here the main meaning is clear. It is very simple, don't fall. But the suggested meaning is come and meet me. And next is again, so those are the examples for saying that it could mean the opposite. Here it is not directly the opposite of what is being said. It means something else. So there fall means don't fall, roam freely means don't roam freely, but here the said sentence is different, but actual meaning, what is trying to be conveyed, is totally different. That we will see now. Kasya va na bhavati rosho drishtva priyayaha sa vranam adharam sa bhramara padma grashana shile varita vame sahasvedanim. Kasya va na bhavati roshaha, who will not get anger? Priyayaha sa vranam adharam drishtva, when one's loved ones is her lips are hurt, who will not get anger? And here how it is hurt? Sabhramara padma agrana shile, this is being addressed to a lady. Hey lady, you are so used to smelling the flower which has a bee inside. So that is a very risky thing to do, to go and smell a flower which has a bee there. You did something that needs to be avoided, but you went and did that. Varita Vame, I even warned you earlier. You didn't listen to me. You neglected my whatever advice and caution that I gave. Sahasva idanim. So you need to face the consequences and go through the consequences. So here it is all about a flower and getting bitten by a bee and all that. But in reality, she has this lady has a lover other than her husband, and a friend is warning her about the consequences when she is doing something very risky, and the consequences of it when her husband comes to know. Drishtva priyayaha adaram savranam adaram. So he is going to naturally get roshaha. So you would have to face the consequence. So here it is not just the opposite meaning, it is totally something different which is being suggested. And so he stresses on the importance of suggestion here. Rasa is always suggested in Dhvani. It shouldn't be made very explicit. Swashabdhena sa kevalam anudhyate natu tatkrita. So when we want to say that she has this Shringara Rasa, or she is having that feeling, when the Kavi simply writes, he had Veera or she had Shringara, we don't experience that. So maybe it might also be mentioned swashabdena sa kevalam anudhyate. Maybe just to stress he could include it somewhere. Natu tatkrita. Just by reading that term, just by reading that name, the proper name of the sentiment, we don't experience that sentiment. We experience the sentiment through all the description that is provided there. For Shringara, based on the description that they provide, how each person looked at, people looked at each other, and all those, by those description is how we experience the rasa, and not by directly writing what they felt. And he clarifies that now, having stated that there is something that is different from the regular denoted meaning and indicated meaning, he says this suggested meaning is the most important thing in a kavya. Kavyasya atma saevartastatha chadikavehe pura krauncha dvandva viyogottah shokah shlokatvam agatah. So he is saying this Rasadhvani has to be the soul of poetry, because we have seen even from Valmiki's grief how his shoka got converted into shlokas, the Ramayana shlokas. And what kind of, how was this shoka triggered? Krauncha dvandva viyoga uttaha. It was triggered by the viyoga, or the separation of the pair of Krauncha Pakshis that were there. So how this grief made him write the poem. So he's saying that only prompts them, that that feeling that they carry is only the most important in the kavya. Kavyasya atma saevartha tata cha adikave pura kraunchadvandva viyoga uttah shokah shlokatvam agatah. And talking about that, he says shoko hi karunasthai bhavah. So for the shoka is the sai bhava for the rasa which is karuna. For karuna rasa, shoka or the sorrow is the abiding emotion, that is the sai bhava. So when we reach the peak of that emotion of shoka, when shoka reaches its peak, when we experience it as a aesthetic sentiment, it becomes pathos or karuna. And he clarifies that it will be suggested. And talking about this, he says that, yeah, I understand everybody will not be able to understand and appreciate what is not directly stated, but still that is the beauty. And who can't understand and who can understand, he clarifies this. शब्दार्थ शासन ज्ञान मात्रेणैव न विद्यते विद्यते सतु काव्यार्थ तत्त्वज्ञैरेव केवलम. So this third meaning of, or the dhvani meaning, or the vyangyartha, cannot be understood by those people who just know shabda, artha, what is the rule, shashana. They have the knowledge of what is the rule related to shabda and artha. If they have only that, they won't be able to understand whatever is suggested. Vidyate satu kavyartha tattvajnaihi. So those who are able to understand what is being conveyed by the kavya, only they will be able to identify and appreciate this suggested meaning. So we have this example of in Kumara Sambhava where Parvati's tapas is being described, and only those who know Yoga Shastra will be able to relate that. How? By saying that the water fell on her eyelashes and fell down and on her breast and came to the stomach and entered her navel. So all these you would be able to relate it to Yoga Shastra and understand that she had kept her focus on her nostrils and nose, and hence her eye was half closed and half open, and that's why it could fall on the eyes. And then when it hit the lips, her lips were so soft that even the falling of a raindrop could cause hurt to her. So, and that she was keeping her head straight. So all those who can understand, only those who know this Yoga Shastra, how Patanjali has described that one has to sit straight and all that, then they will be able to appreciate what Kalidasa has described in as well Parvati is doing her tapas. Now coming to explain this, so having said that dhvani is important, can we totally give up, not bother about the literal meaning, the primary meaning or the vakyartha? He says no, that is important. We should know how important it is and where it stops. So for that he says, alokarti yada deepashikayam yatnavan janah tad upayataya tadvadarte vachye tadadritah. Just like a man who needs to see something in the darkness, he carries a lamp. But what he needs is the light and not the lamp. But without the lamp, we can't have the light. So same way, without the vakyartha, you can't know the vyangyartha. So the purpose of vakyartha is to help us to know the vyangyartha, and there is no way you can get light without the lamp. Same way, we need the vakyartha to understand the vyangyartha. This is the most important karika in Dhvanyaaloka, defining dhvani. Yatrartha shabdo va tamartam upasarjani krita swarto vyangtah kafya visheshaha swadhvaniriti suribhihi katitah. Suribhihi katitah. So budaihi. So wise men, what do they say? How do they define dhvani? Dhvanihi iti suribhihi katitah. Kim etat vyangtah kavya visheshaha. It is something that adds beauty to the kavya, and it is vyangtah. It is not explicit. It is suggested. And yatra artha shabdo va tamartam upasarjani krita swartav. So whatever word or meaning where it loses itself, abandons its original meaning, and takes to something else. So and it is suggestive and it is the important aspect of the kavya, that becomes the dhvani. So for dhvani, the conventional word, the vachyartha and the vachaka, the shabda that creates the artha, vachyartha, the vachaka shabda and vachyartha. So both of these, they lose their original meaning and they become they provide a suggested meaning. that becomes dhvani. And Vengya pradhanyehi dhvanihi. So it's very important that it has to be suggested, that it has to be prominent also. Two important things about dhvani. One is it can't be explicit, it has to be suggested. And second thing, even the suggestion has to be prominent. Pradhanye, Vengya pradhanyehi dhvanihi. It also has to be prominent. If something else is prominent, example we say is the king is always prominent, but when he visits his servant's wedding, the prominence is given to the servant, so that, on that day. So same way, somewhere alankara is prominent, dhvani is not prominent, so that doesn't become dhvani. So it has to be suggestive, or where it is evident, where it is direct, it can't be dhvani, because it has to be only suggested. So it has to be suggested and it has to be prominent. So he gives example of where, for us to understand, where there could be non-prominent suggestion. So there is some suggestion, but that is not gaining the prominence. So there, Upodaragena vilola tarakam tatha grihitam shashina nishamukham yata samastam timiramshukam taya uropi ragad galitam na lakshitam. So this is the explanation of the sky at night time. Upodaragena vilola tarakam. So it is all the sky is filled with these shining twinkling stars, and tatha grihitam shashina nishamukham. So the overall description, if we see, is to describe how beautiful the night is, with the moon glowing in red color, and yatha samastam timira amshukam, and this mass of darkness, this night, the darkness that is there in the night is slowly vanishing, but it goes unnoticed. Galitam na lakshitam, ragat galitam na lakshitam. So it doesn't, it is not noticed, but it is slowly, it is vanishing, the darkness is vanishing. Well, this becomes the literal meaning, but actually what the Kavi has also done smartly is, by using certain aspects, like he has used the term for moon and night. The shabda he has used has been taken to be pullinga shabda and strilinga shabda. So there nisha is a strilinga shabda. And also what he has done is certain words which have double meaning, those he has taken. For example, the same verse can be understood to mean another, convey another message. That is how the heroine's face is actually bright, and when the hero kisses her, though her black garment falls down, he doesn't notice because of his intense love. So this ragat, here raga would mean love in the second case. In the first case, while the night time is being described, there it could be the moon glowing in red color. So using those fun with words, and the way how he smartly uses the pullinga pada and strilinga pada, with all of these, there is indeed a suggested meaning that the hero kisses the heroine, and when her garment falls, he doesn't notice it due to his love. But when we see the overall context here, it is actually the description of the night time. That is the main vivaksha. That is what the Kavi wants to convey. So though there is some suggested meaning, that is not the that is not gaining prominence here. That is not the most important factor here. Yeah, there is some suggestion. Okay, it is good, it is enjoyable, that's all. But that is not the main purport of this verse. So that being the case, this is stated as an example of where the suggested meaning is not gaining prominence. So this is an example of samasokti. In samasokti, by the same verse, we could understand in two different ways. But yet there can be only one is what is intended, and another is happens to also mean something else, but that is not intended. Whereas when we see in the other earlier case where the friend is telling, warning her, there the intention is the other meaning, but here it just happens to have this other meaning, so it is not gaining prominence. Hence it is an example of the Samashokti is saying it cannot become dhvani. And again the stressing that dhvani has to be Gunibhuta Vengya. You can actually message in here also, in the same chat window. If you see in that whatever hangout session that we are having, there itself you can open up the first button is probably the chat one, the blue one with lines. You can type your questions there, or you can unmute and ask. Gunibhuta Vengya. The point here is there is some Vengya, but it has Gaunatva. It is not Pradhanya, and it has Gaunatva. It doesn't become Dhvani, is the point. Okay. Then again clarifying on Dhvani. Nacha avayava eva pratagbhutaha avayaviti prasiddhaha. So the limbs, they can never become the body. So anga and angi. So anga or all these limbs, or avayava or all these limbs, and avayavi or angi is the body that possesses these limbs. So these two are not the same. Only one gains prominence. So here we can't. There are people who say that there are different types. Why don't you include dhvani also as one type of alankara and all that? So for that he clarifies there could be different aspects of poetry, but since this is avayavi and this is not an avayava, I wouldn't include dhvani just as any other aspect like there's alankaras, gunas, vritti, etc. So he stresses that dhvani is the most important one for the poetry. Then another example of an alankara which is not dhvani. Suvarna pushpam prithivim chinvanti purushastrayah surasta kritavijñascha yascha janati sevitum. So three people, they are able to pluck the golden flowers from the earth. Who are they? First is Shuraha, valorous men, and Kritavidyasta, who expert in any field. So they can prosper well. They can have a lot of money and be happy. And Yascha Janati Sevitam, those who know to serve. So here it is Deepaka Alankara. The Alankara here. Deepaka means when you light a lamp and place it at your house, at the entrance of your house, you get light inside the house and also outside. So same way you are trying to stress the importance of those who know how to serve, that they will gain prosperity. But in that process you also happen to mention that even Shuraha and experts, they will also gain prosperity. So this alankara, wherein when you are trying to highlight something, other things also get highlighted in the process. This is a Deepaka alankara, so there is an alankara. But what is that dhvani there? Here Suvarna Pushpam. Literally there is no golden flower that is that somebody can pluck in this world. So there it only indicates that it is success or worldly attachment. But why do I say not Dhvani? I need to check this. I say Alankara, not Dhvani, but it is actually, it could be, where are you bringing? Can you type here only? You can unmute yourself. Divya, I can't unmute. You will have to unmute yourself. Do you find the button to unmute yourself?
Yeah, sorry. I can't type here in iPad. I have to go to that window to type. This example that we are discussing is actually for avivakshita vachya.
Avivakshita. So that which is not intended. Yeah, got it. Yeah. So these are examples of, it's not a counter example of Dhvani. It is just while defining Dhvani, he is giving further examples. The actual separation or classification he explains later only in the second chapter. In the second chapter, he would say we have already seen this type of Dhvani. So he covers certain examples in the earlier part itself, in the first chapter itself. So this is an example of avivakshita vachya Dhvani, where the meaning is not what has been literally conveyed. So here literally it says golden flowers, but there are no golden flowers. So the suggested meaning for Suvarna Pushpam is the prosperity. So this is Dhvani, and it is Avivakshita Vachya Dhvani. We will be seeing what all varieties are there. And again another example is Shikarini Kvanunama Kiyachiram Kim abhidhanam asau akarot tapaha taruni yena tavadhara patalam dashati bimbaphalam shukashavakaha. So Shikarini Kvanunama, in what was the name of that mountain where the tapas was made? Kiyachiram, how long was the penance made? Kim abhidhanam asau. So what was the name? Akarot tapaha, the name of that tapas that was done. So here the lover is actually praising the peacock. A peacock happens to eat some fruit which resembles the heroine's lips. So the hero says, "Oh, it must have done tapas." Not peacock, sorry, parrot. So the parrot is able to taste the fruit which resembles the heroine's lips. So here he is asking, Shikarini Kvanunama Kiyachiram Kim Abhidhanam Asau Akarot Tapaha Taruni Yena Tavadha Adhara Patalam Dashati Bimbaphalam Shukashavakaha. Shukashavakaha, this parrot, Dashati, it is able to what is the term there? Chew. It is able to taste that Dashati, we say no, only snake Dashati, so bite. Okay, that is the term. So Shukashavakaha, it bites. Bimbaphalam Adharapatalam, Tava Adharapatalam. So that Bimbaphalam, which resembles your lips. So what Tapa did that parrot do to be able to bite this fruit? So the suggested meaning is, I want to know and do that tapas so that I can have access to my that heroine's lips. So this is being conveyed here. So this is again an example where the suggested meaning is there. And what is this example? This is Vivakshita Anyaparavachya. So here it's not that the literal meaning has to be discarded. Yeah, literally it has some meaning, but why should somebody, why should the hero just out of nowhere go and start appreciating a parrot for eating some fruit? So there is a strong suggested meaning. He wants to convey his interest to the heroine. That is why he is talking about the parrot there. So this becomes an example of Vivakshita Anyaparavachya.
Nivedita, can I interrupt once here?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Avivakshita Vachya Dhvani is Lakshanamula Dhvani. Vivakshita Anya Paravachya Dhvani is Abhidhamula. So the beauty, this example, particular example is for Vivakshita Anya Paravachya Dhvani. So what they say is, because of the beauty of the words, Abhidha, there is Dhvani. So that is why it is classified as this Vivakshita Anya Paravachya Dhvani. Am I right? Huh? Hello?
Not able to hear you.
Oh, now can you?
1 second. Yeah.
Divya, I was able to hear. Veena, I'm not able to hear.
Yeah. Divya, what I understand is this is Artha Shakti Moola Dhvani, because the Artha that is conveyed from this shloka gives the suggested meaning. So even you change the shabda here, like Shuka Shalaka, you can put another synonym. Also, doesn't change the meaning of the shloka.
Okay, yeah. Artha Shakti also comes under Vivakshita Anya Paravachya. Yeah.
So this is not Shabdartha.
Actually, in the first chapter, he doesn't get into all the various classes.
Exactly, yeah.
So
This is the first branch.
Just examples are given for Dhvani, and in different ways there could be Dhvani. That is the idea here.
Yeah.
So moving on, he has to clarify in Dhvanyabhava Vada, there were 3 main classifications, and under the first classification there were again 3. So totally 5 ways in which Dhvani was refuted. The first one was saying Dhvani does not exist. Second one saying Dhvani is same as Bhakti. Third one saying Dhvani is something anirvachaniya, it can't be described. So for those who said it is anirvachaniya, he's giving the rupam, he's elaborately describing how Dhvani is and all its pravedas. So that way he refuted them. And for those who said it is bhakti, he's giving both the examples where for ativyapti and avyapti, where there is bhakti without dhvani and where there is dhvani without bhakti, saying that defining dhvani to be bhakti is wrong. It has these 2 doshas of ativyapti and avyapti. And for those who say it doesn't exist, within that also first set of people said whatever had to be spoken has already been told by all the earlier poets, Bharata and all. They have already described Alankara, Guna, Vritti, etc. So it cannot exist. Within that, Dhvani Abhava Vadinaha, the second group said if something like that exists, then it has to be a mistake. So for all those, he showed how earlier itself it was existing. He was not trying to create something new, and that's how he answered them. And here, while saying that it is not bhakti, he explains it this way: Bhaktya bhivarti naikatvam rupa bedat ayam dhvanihi. So there is basic form itself. There is the difference between dhvani and bhakti. So na bhivarti ekatvam. So they don't tend to become the same. They can never become the same. So that is how he actually described how Lakshanikas, they define Lakshana, explaining that, giving examples of how there can be Lakshana without Dhani and how there can be Vyangya without Lakshana. So with that he completes the first chapter. Getting into the second chapter, the Dvitiya there is where he starts explaining the different types of Dhvani. So one is Avivakshita Vachyaha, which is Lakshana Mula Dhvani. It is something that literally we say something, but what we intend to say is something else. And within that there are 2 types. Arthantara Sankramita Vachyaha and Adyanta Tiraskrita Vachyaha. In Arthanta Sankramita Vachyaha, we take what is being said, but we go way beyond that arthantara sankramita. We go beyond the meaning to understand something more. In atyanta tiraskrita vachya, we'll have to discard what is being said and we will have to take a different meaning. So that's why it is lakshana mooladhvani based on the meaning. Either we discard the meaning and take something else, as in the case of atyanta tiraskrita, or we go beyond the meaning and we take something more that makes it arthantara sankramita vachya. Then coming to vivakshita anyapara vachya. So something is being said, but we are able to understand something else. So it is intended, but we further extend the literal input that is based on the words there, abhidha mooladhvani. And within that there are two types, samlakshakrama vyangyaha and asamlakshakrama vyangyaha. And asamlakshakrama vyangya is considered to be the superior type of dhvani. So that is the rasadi. Rasadi means rasa, bhava, etc. So the rasadi dhvani is this asamlakshakrama vyangya. The difference between these two is krama. There is some order in understanding. So in say Vastudhvani and Alankara Dhvani, even in the case of Swacha Kesarinaha, in the Mangala Shloka, so we understand the idea after having understood the Shabda, then we get an understanding of what is the suggested idea or what is the suggested figure of speech. Any Alankara is there, what is it there. So there is an order. First we understand the basic meaning and then we go to the next level to understand the suggested sense. Whereas in asamlakshakrama dhvani, asamlakshakrama vyangya dhvani, what happens is it happens so fast, like without understanding the primary meaning we can't go to the suggested meaning, but since it happens so fast, asamlakshakrama, so it is not lakshya, it is not seen, it is not noticed. So it doesn't say akrama. There is no krama is not mentioned there, but asamlaksha krama, the krama is not noticed. So in rasadi dhvani there is a krama, but it is not noticed. The example is given as patrashata shatapatra nyaya, wherein when you are using your say a needle to pierce through 100 petals, though it has to go one by one because it goes so fast. We just say all the 10-20 have been cut, or the needle has gone through all of them. But scientifically it is not possible for the needle to go through all of them at the same time. But we don't notice that, okay, now first it has gone through the first petal, now it has gone to the second petal. So this is not noticed. And do you want to say something? I'll mute you if you want to say, unmute yourself. So that is asamlakshakrama vyangya. So now, while explaining that there are two types within avivakshita vachya, the definition he gives in 2.1 itself, second udyota, first karika, arthantare sankramitam atyantam va tiraskritam avivakshita vachyasya dhvanir vachyam dvidhamatam. So he says that dvidhamatam, there are two types there within avivakshita vachyasya, belonging to avivakshita vachya. What are they? Arthantare sankramitam atyantam va tiraskritam. Either arthantare sankramitam, it gets transformed into some other meaning, or atyantam va tiraskritam, where the express meaning is totally discarded. So having told that those are the two types, an example for arthantara sankramita vachya, here Rama, when he sees the seasonal changes, those seasonal things, they actually indicate they actually cause the feeling of love in hero and heroine who are staying apart. Now Rama is separated from Sita, he is missing her. So, and these seasons are all causing him to feel the pain even more. In that circumstance, he says, Kamam santu dridam katora hridayah Ramosmi sarvam sahe vaidehi tu kaptam bhavishyati ahaha devi dhira bhava. Kamam santu, Dridam Katora Hridaya Ramah. Kamam Santu, okay, let all these happen. Whatever the Kalaha is happening, the season, whatever it is showing, which makes him remind his wife. So let them happen. Dridam Katora Hridaya Ramosvi Sarvam Sahe. Aham Ramaha Asmi. I am Rama. Katora Hridaya, very strong-hearted person. Sarvam Sahe, I can tolerate all this. I can overcome all this pain. Vaidehi tu katam bhavishyati. What will you do? How will you be? Devi dhira bhava. Be very strong. Is what he's praying in his mind. So here, Ramosmi Sarvam Sahe. The term Rama here, Arthantra Sankramita. So we are not discarding that here Rama means Dasharatha Putraha. Yeah, it indeed refers to Dasharatha Putraha, but Arthantra Sankramita, based on the context here, Katora Hridayavaha Ramaha. So that causes us to, it reminds us of all the pains that Rama has already undergone in his life and how he has withstood all the pains. So be it having to give up his Raja or go with Vishwamitra to fight to protect his yajna and all that. So he is a person who has already demonstrated how strong he is. So the term Rama, Ramosmi, Aham Ramosmi, a simple term saying I am Rama, it conveys lot more than just the meaning that he is Rama. So we Arthantra Sankramita, it conveys much more than what is literally intended. So this is an example of Arthantra Sankramita Vachya. Another example for Atyanta Tiraskrita Vachya, where you have to discard the literal meaning. You can't apply the literal meaning. So Tatra Ravishankranta Saubhagyas Tushar Avrita Mandalaha Nishwasandha Iva Adarshas Chandramana Prakashate. So Ravishankranta Saubhagya, all the Saubhagya has been given to Ravi. The moon has given up all its brightness to the sun. Tusharavrita Mandalaha, it is now covered by snow. Nishwasandaha iva, when you blow your breath on a mirror or a glass, it becomes like clouded due to that air. So Nishwasandaha iva adarsha Nishwasandaha iva adarshaha Chandramana prakashate. Like that, the moon is not glowing. Here, Nishwasa andaha. So it has become blind due to the Nishwasa, the breath that we leave out. Because of that, the mirror has become blind. Does the mirror have eyes? Can it become blind? So the meaning doesn't apply. We have to take something other than the literal meaning that the mirror has become blind. So here this is an example of Atyanta Tiraskrita. You totally discard the meaning that the mirror is blind, and what you take is like how we are not able to see clearly. That is being conveyed by this Nishwasandaha. So this is Atyanta Tiraskrita Vachya. Another example for the same. Gaganam tamattamegam dhara lulitarjunani cha vanani nirhankaram mruganga haranti neela api nishaha. So gaganam cha mattamegam. Mattamegam is intoxicated or that rolling clouds. So madam, the intoxication. How can a cloud get intoxication? Here it indicates that it is like a drunkard who loses balance and he'll just roll around. These clouds are rolling in the sky. And Nirahankaram Mriganka. So Nirahankara, losing one's ego or the pride. Nirahankara Mriganka Nisha. The nights are having the moon which has lost its pride. So is it possible for a moon to lose its pride? It doesn't have a feeling of having pride or losing it. So here these are the cases where we totally discard Atyanta Tiraskrita Vachyadvanihi. So here when we say Mattamegam, an intoxicated cloud, or when we say Nirahankaraha, a moon cannot be losing its pride. So all these are actually indicating something else. So there that intoxication shows how it is not having its balance and it is just roaming around here and there, all the clouds. And the same way Nirahankaraha indicates that the moon has lost its brightness. That is being conveyed there indirectly. Now coming to Vivakshitanya Paravachya. This is the other type. Mukyataya Prakashamano Vyangyorto Dhvaneratma. So even when we say all of these are Dhvani, Mukyataya Prakashamano Vyangyarto Dhvaneratma. So again and again he says this point. It has to be Vyangyarta and Mukyataya Prakashamano. It has to have its significance. So then only it becomes the soul of Dhvani. So while Dhvani is the soul of poetry, within Dhvani what is most important is Mukyataya Prakashamana. It has to be most important and it has to be Vyangya. And Sacha Vachyarthapekshaya Kaschid Alakshakramataya Prakashate Kaschid Krameneti Dvidha Mataha. So within that Vivakshitanya Paravachya, he says there are two types. One is Alakshakramataya Prakashate, where you can't notice the krama and kramena. The other one is where krama is there, where krama can be noticed, Lakshakrama. So these are the two varieties. And explaining about Alakshakrama Vyangya, while after the Karika in the Vritti it is mentioned Rasadirartohi Saheva Vachenava Bhasate Sacha Ankitvena Avabhasamanaha Dhvanehe Atma. So what is the important aspect within Dhvani? It has to be Angitvena Avabhasamanaha. It shouldn't be an anga, it should be an angi. It shouldn't be gauna, it should be mukhya. And it should be the rasadi artha hi saheva vachena avabhasate. Rasadi artha. So here rasadi, the actual vritti, if we see, there he has listed what is rasadi. Rasa, bhava, tadhabhasa, which means rasabhasa, bhavabhasa. Bhava means it resembles the rasa, or it resembles the bhava. Rasa, he is taking only those navarasa.
Sorry, Nivedita.
Yeah.
Rasa bhasa is not the resemblance, it is the abhasa. Abhasa is anauchitya. Remember Ravana's love. No, abhasa. It originates from the anauchitya. It is rasa plus abhasa, rasa abhasa.
Correct. What is semblance? Meaning of semblance, the term semblance?
I don't know.
Semblance only. You seem to be saying that we will verify that.
Semblance, I don't know the...
Abhasa also means it is like rasa, but it has not gained that level of intensity that it fails to become rasa. It is not bhanga.
It is not bhanga. It is not rasa bhanga. Abhasa is the deviation. Anauchitya. It originates from the anauchitya. Anauchitya of a rasa becomes rasa abhasa.
I'm hesitating to use the term anauchitya because anauchitya is a negative quality and it actually does rasa bhanga only, it is said. So not sure if anauchitya is the right word.
That is the
lochana. You have done something wrong.
Okay. It is
inappropriate.
No. It is written in Lochana. That anauchitya that I'm quoting from Lochana. Anyway, okay. It's okay. Just we need to keep it in our mind. I don't know the semblance word. I'll refer to
resemblance. English synonyms, it says resemblance. Abhasa means it seems like. So
maybe. Okay.
what I take it is, it hasn't reached that type of intensity for which it could we could call it a rasa. But it is somewhere there, so it seems like rasa.
Okay.
So rasa is, it resembles the rasa, or it resembles the bhava, without reaching the peak.
The example given in Lochana is for rasa bhasa is the moha of Ravana for Sita. Okay. So there what he says is it is not, it has that anauchitya term there. Because he is not the Nayaka. So there is some anauchitya there, but still there is rasa. So that is why he says rasa abhasa.
Okay.
So I think whatever we both told just now can be combined. So let us keep the word semblance if it is there. Okay, continue.
So this rasadi ardhahi saheva vachena avabhasate. So rasa bhasa bhava tadhabhasa means rasabhasa bhavabhasa tat prashanti, their rise and fall, prashanti the cessation, and adihi the rise of that, akramaha, these are all under that asamlakshakrama dhvani. And dhvaneः आत्मांगी भावेन भासमानो व्यवस्थितः, angi bhavena. So if they are not anga, they need to be angi. They need to have the prominence, then they become the soul of suggestion itself, the soul of dhvani itself. So this is the main karika. So here these rasadihi, whatever has been explained, all this rasa and other aspects, he arthaha hi saheva vachyena avabhasate. So along with the vachyartha, all these rasa and all that also avabhasate, we are able to, it just flashes, we are able to get it along with the vachyartha. So as we read the description, we are able to know that this is Shringara that is happening between the Nayaka Nayaki. Sahayeva angitvena avabhasamanah dhvanehe atma. So whenever this other rasadi, all these aspects, rasadi artha, when they become angi, when they take that level of importance, then it becomes dhvanehe atma. Then he clarifies where, in cases where they don't gain that importance, there he says it becomes rasavad alankara. Rasavat, it's like gunam yasya asti iti guni vatu pratyaya, rasavat iti atra, which has rasa in it, that which includes rasa. So it is an alankara, it just happens to have rasa also in it. Pradhanya anyatra vakyarte yatra angam tu rasadayah kavya tasmin alankaro rasadiriti me matihi. So pradhanya anyatra vakyarte. So the importance is not given to rasadihi. Yatra angam tu rasadayah. So the importance is for a different meaning, and the rasadayah, they rasa etc., bhava etc., they just come as an angam. Instead of coming as an angi, they come as an angam, just as a part. In such cases, kavye tasmin alankarah, in those alankaras which appear in this way in the kavyam containing rasa, rasadihi iti me matihi. So these are rasavad alankara. That is how he defines rasavad alankara, where the prominence is not given to rasadi and the prominence is only for the alankara, but it happens to have rasa etc., then they are rasavad alankara. So here all the shostras that we read, there we see that they will describe the Lord completely and finally say Patuvaha, let him protect us all. So like that it will come. So here what is the main bhava? It is bhakti bhava only. The stotra is being said to convey this bhakti, but what happens is some specific quality is being described there. So that was one example where Shiva killed Tripura. So there how the fire falls on the hands of the Tripuras, three Tripura, their wives, and how when they push it aside, it holds on to their sari end, and they push it, it falls at their feet. And in that case, it is actually again related to a lover, how he follows up with his beloved while begging some forgiveness and all that. So here and all, it's a detailed description of something else. Maybe Shiva's valor, how powerful he is and how strong he is. Everything is described. Finally, let him protect us. Or the other example that we study in Govida, where Parvati, He Amba, Kim Amba, that how they Shanmukha and Ganesha, they fight with each other. So there Hasya Rasa is prominent. Finally, that Parvati who is smilingly looking at these two people fighting, let her protect us. So Bhakti comes later. So Bhakti is not gaining prominence there. So all these becomes example of Rasavad Alankara. एवं ध्वनेः उपमादीनां रसवदलङ्कारस्य च विभक्तविषयता भवति. So in this way he explains how dhvani containing this main where rasa gains prominence is different from simple alankaras where there is no dhvani, and other alankaras where it includes the rasa also, rasavad alankara. This way he classifies them separately. What is dhvani? Dhvani is thing where the rasa gains prominence, and rasavad alankaram is alankara is gaining prominence, and it is secondary. The rasa and all are secondary, and there are normal alankaras which don't have dhvani. And difference between guna and alankara is also highlighted here. It is said that tamartam avalambante ye anginam te gunasmruta angashrutas tvalankaraha mantavya katakadivat. So how bangles, etc., all those ornaments are worn to bring beauty to the body. Here the tamartam avalambante ye anginam te gunasmrutaha. Anginam, not anga, angi. The main element. If rasa becomes the main element, then those are considered as gunaha. That which depends on rasa is taken to be gunaha, and those that are connected only to the parts, anga ashritaha. So angi is guna, and guna is related to the angi, which is rasa, and this anga ashritaha alankaraha. Alankaraha are all connected to some specific parts. Here the parts could be the express meaning or the expression. So there the figures of speech, Sadda Alankara, Artha Alankara, all of these are attached to the specific parts of this, like how ornaments, they are attached to specific parts of the body, they beautify only specific parts of the body. Like that, the alankaras are related to specific parts, whereas guna, they are related to the main rasa itself, the main element itself. The gunas are their ashraya becomes that. And Anandavardhana considers only three main gunas, like prasada, ojas and madhurya. He actually defines these three. And how guna and rasa are related, there he explains Shringareva maduraha parak prakhladano rasaha tanmayam kavyam ashritya madhuryam pratithishtati. So you could relate this guna and rasa in this way. For example, if we take Shringara, Shringara parak prakhladanaha rasaha. It is the rasa that causes extreme happiness to the readers. Shringaraha eva maduraha, that is the sweetest of all rasas. And tanmayam kavyam ashritya, so in that kavya where there is Shringara, madhuryam pratithishtati, you would find madhurya there. That sweetness in the expression has to be present when Shringara, the Kavyam is based on Shringara. So how closely this Guna and Rasa are related, he brings it out by this example. And how Alankara are to be used. Okay, you have stressed that the Dhvani is important and Alankara is not important. So what should we do with Alankara? Not use it or use it? So there he is clarifying to what extent we should use Alankara in the Kavya. Dhvanyaatmabhute Shringare Yamakadi Nibandanam Shaktavapi Pramaditvam Vipralambe Visheshataha. Dhvanyaatmabhute Shringare. Shringara is the Dhvani Atmabhudaha, Bhutaha. Shringara is the soul of the Dhvani, where Shringara is becoming the soul of the Dhvani in that situation where Shringara is there. Emakadi Nibandhanam, Shaktavapi Pramaditvam, Shakto Pramaditvam Asti Chetapi. Even when you have the capacity to include Yamakadi, all those Shabda Alankara and all that, you have capacity, you are very knowledgeable and very easily you will be able to include new Alankaras, but they are to be avoided. So he forbids the use of great this Shabda Alankara and all when you are describing Shringara, especially Vipralambe Visheshataha. More so in Vipralamba when hero and heroine are separated. When describing that kind of a situation, that is not a place to show your skills in the other Alankaras. So the Alankara should support the rasa and not just because you know you are capable of creating that Alankara, you can't simply introduce it anywhere. We should be conscious of where it is being introduced. That's what he says. He proceeds to explain that further. Rasakshiptataya yasya bandha shakyakriyo bhavet aprutak yatna nirvatyah solankaro dhanau mataha. So even if he is able to introduce it anywhere, apratak yatna nirvatyah, without any special effort, it just naturally comes in that while describing that situation when he is experiencing that rasa. So it is said that the author first experiences the rasa, then he comes down to one level to be able to express it and write it in the kavya. So that's how it happens. So when he is in this way, he's experienced it and he's putting them down in the kavya, when he is in that mood of that sentiment, in that circumstances, what naturally comes and which fits well into the kavya, those are the ones that need to be used, or others should be avoided. So it shouldn't be like, okay, it has been long time since I introduced one Alankara, let me put one Upama here. So that it shouldn't come that way. When he is experiencing that same feeling as that of the hero or heroine, it should kind of naturally come and fall in place there. And Shabda Shakti in Samlakshakrama, where the krama is noticed, there are two types, Shabda Shakti Mooladhvani and Artha Shakti Mooladhvani. So there, this is a counter example to say that something is not Shabda Shakti. It is not Shabda Shakti is one where due to the potency of the word we understand a different meaning. So here we see Tasya Vinapi Harena Nisargadeva Harinau Janaya Masatuhu Kasya Vismayam na Payodarau. Her bosom Payodarau, Harinau, they are garlanded. Visargadeva Harinau, in nature itself, by nature they are garlanded. Tasyaha Payodarau. Harena Vinapi, she is not actually wearing any garland, but it is naturally garlanded. And Janaya Masatuhu Kasya Vismayam na Janaya Masatuhu. Whose this amazement won't it cause? Because in spite of not having a garland, she is garlanded. So this word hara, vinaharena, So there she's not having any garland. Harinau. So dual. Payodarau Harinau. So explaining that her bosom is garlanded. Here, yeah, the shabda is being used. There is a shlesha and that word hara, and there is also a tinge of virodha because we say garlanded without garland. So that is also there, and this love is also conveyed there. How will he be in a position to appreciate her? It is due to his love for her. He is able to appreciate that. So either if you take it as the rasa or Shringara rasa, then it becomes asamlakshakrama. As we read the verse, we are able to relate to the love that hero has for the heroine. So in that case, it becomes asamlakshakrama vengya. But if you want to take it as a samlakshakrama vengya based on the shakti of a word, here we don't find that. There is no vyangya on that specific word hara, though there is a slesha and there is this virodha and all that, but based on that hara there is no suggested meaning as it is there. So this is an example of what is not a Shabda Shakti. Then Artha Shakti Mooladhvani. So there he says there are two main types within the Artha. Based on the Artha, potency of the meaning, we are able to understand the suggested meaning. So in that case, Praudhokti, where because of the Kavi's imagination, he is able to add beauty to the entire thing. He imagines things and his fancy, he is writing that. And the second is Swatasvambhavi. What is naturally existing, is that relating it, based on that we get to understand something. And within each of those, so within one also we have ABCD, within two also Swatasvambhavi also we have 4 types, within Praudhokti also we have 4 types. They are Vastuna Vastudhvani, Vastuna Alankaradhvani, Alankarena Vastudhvani, Alankarena Alankaradhvani. Time is going to be 12. Okay. So here, based on an idea, we get another idea, or based on an alankara, we get it, or all the combinations, 4 combinations. The examples of Artha Shakti and Swatasambhavi, Vastuna Vastudhvani is given this way. Evam Vadini Devarshau Parshve Pituhu Adhomukhi Leela Kamalapatrani Ganayamasa Kevalam. So Parvati, this is in Kumara Sambhava when Narada comes and tells Himalaya that Parvati should be given in marriage to Shiva, and he is also ready. This describes what Parvati was doing. Evam Vadini Devarsho, while the Devarshi was saying all these words, Pituhu Parshve, Parvati, who was standing next to her father, Adhomukhi, she was looking down. Leela Kamalapatrani Ganayamasa Kevalam. She started counting whatever lotus she was carrying in her hand for playing. She started counting its petal. So there is no reason for her to seriously start counting the petal, but from this Swatasambhavi, so this is a natural description. This is not a wide imagination that doesn't happen in real world, that the Kavi has now imagined of. The counting of a petal, that activity is something that happens in the real world. Vastuna Vastudhani, but by means of that activity is conveying another idea that she is shy. That she is feeling shy is being conveyed by the Kavi when he says she started counting the petals. So this is Artha Shakti. Based on the Artha, it is not by any specific word that we get this, by the meaning, and by the Swatasambhavi, from one idea we get another idea. Another example, Shikipicha Karnapura Jaya Vyadasya Garvini Brahmati Mukta Phalarachita Prasadhananam Madhye Sapatninam. So there is this wife of hunter, Vyagrasya Jaya, Garvini Brahmati. She walks, roams around in pride. Kutra Sapatnina Madhye. amongst all the, while all the other co-wives are watching, she walks in pride. And the description of the co-wives, it's given this way: Mukta phala rachita prasadanam. So they are all having mukta phala, the pearl, the ornaments having pearls. They are wearing ornaments having pearls. That kind of co-wives are there. Amongst them, this lady is walking with pride. And what is she wearing? Karnapura. What is she wearing in her ears? Shikipicha. So it is an ornament made of the feathers of the peacock's tail. So called plumes of the peacock. So that only she is wearing, but she is walking in pride. So here, this is again Svatastambhavi only. It is quite possible for a female to walk wearing all this. But what is being conveyed here through this is that she is lucky to get this unique gift from her husband, who is an hunter, while others are having pearls. She is able to wear this. Might be expensive or may not be expensive, but the point here is this indicates the special love that her husband is having towards her, and due to that she is walking with pride. So this is the suggested meaning over there. And another example that is given for Vastuna Alankara, due to an idea how an Alankara is there, and that Alankara is also not complete, it is suggested. Alankara Dhvani eva asti tatra. So in this specific case, there is Utpreksha that is suggested. And Chandana Asakta Bhujaga Vishwasanila Murchitaha Chayati Yeshaha Patikan Madhav Malaya Marutaha. So Malaya Marutam, that breeze during the southwesterly wind during the spring season, what it does is, in Kavi Samya, it is always considered to be the seasons, and all they indicate, they actually bring out the longing for one's partner. So here, because of that, they are not able to do their work, carry out their work very actively, because they are lost in their thoughts about their beloved ones. So here, Chandana Asaktah Bhujanga, snake is actually bound around, it is there residing around a sandal tree, and Nishvasanilam Muchitaha. So when it is leaving out its breath, because it's poisonous, that breath is being mixed up with the Maruta, Malaya Marutaha. So it gets mixed up. The Malaya Marutaha has become poisoned due to the Nishvasa of this Bhujaga. And so what has happened? What is the result of that? It is causing all this lethargy in those travelers who are passing by. They feel lethargic. They are not very active in carrying out their work. So here they have suggested thing is they are actually remembering their wives who are staying away from them. So here this is a poetical fantasy. Like it's not that really in real life the Bhujanga is going to leave its breath and it is going to poison the wind around. So this is his fancy, the poet's fancy, and so that it becomes an expression of the Praudokti. And Utpreksha is Utpreksha is the Hetu Utpreksha. It is an imagined one. The cause for this kind of a lethargy in travelers, this reason has been imagined by the poet. So it is a Utpreksha Alankara, but since it is again not explicitly stated, so it becomes Utpreksha Dhvani. Alankara Dhvani, and it is Vastuna Alankara Dhvani. The Vastu is this idea of actually the snake poisoning the wind, and the Alankara that we get is this is actually causing the travelers to feel lethargy. So that is an example. And another example is, let me see what more is there. If second chapter ends, really the focus is only on first and second chapter. Third and fourth chapter, just for namesake, one or two they include. So from exam perspective, we need to focus more on first and second chapter. It is now 2 o'clock. We started today. Let's see for another half an hour. If anybody wants to leave, please proceed. Example of Yatha Sankhya Dhvani. This is Alankarena Alankara Dhvani. One Alankara is explicitly stated and another Alankara is suggested. Ankuritaha, Pallavitaha, Korakitaha, Pushpitascha Sahakaraha, Ankuritaha, Pallavitaha, Korakitaha, Pushpitascha Hridi Madanaha. So here, how a mango sprouts, it turns into leaf, then buds and flowers. Same way, the love is also, it sprouts in the heart and it turns into leaf, buds, and it finally flowers. So here, it's an example of Yatha Sankhya Dhvani. What is expressed is Tulya Yogita, combination of equals. Tulya Yogita is what is equal that has been stated here, that for the mango tree also all this happen, and for the Hridi Manaha also all this happens. So the Tulya Yogita, in Yatha Sankhya, what happens is the order is there. Two things, what is being compared in the main object of comparison. These two, Upama, Upayeya, they both follow the same order. So it will be mentioned just once, but in this case, by repeating them twice, what happens is, as a dhvani, though it is not explicitly stated, we are able to understand Yatha Sankhya Alankara also from this, and that becomes a suggested Alankara, and the stated Alankara is the Tulya Yogita, how these two are directly similar, because of the resonance part is by using the same terms again. So by using the same terms again, we are able to get this. Any explanation you want to add?
No. I'm not sure now whether Yatha Sankhya is Dhvani or Yatha Sankhya is Alankara. I got confused.
It is a Alankara, and Dhvani means it is Vyangya. It is not explicit. So it is Yatha Sankhya Dhvani, because if it had been explicit, then it would have become Yatha Sankhya Alankara. But in this specific verse, since it is Vyangya, it is not explicitly that, and by repeating the same terms again, we have created that specific Alankara. Okay, then Alankara Dhvani, what is the purpose where it is to be used? Shariri Karanam Yesham Vachatvena Vyavastitam Te Alankarah Param Chayam Yanti Dhvanyangatam Gataha. So certain Alankaras which may not fit to become the main part of the poetry. Yesham Vachyatve Shariri Karanam na Vyavastitam. So they are not fit to become the main, to be included in the main part. But when they are when they are given in the form of a suggestion, Dhvanyangatam Gataha. When they become a part of the dhvani, what they do is Param Chayam Yanti. They bring special beauty to the entire thing. So like John Keats said, what is expressed is beautiful, what is not unexpressed is even more beautiful, like that. So when Alankara, certain Alankaras, directly putting them, they may not fit so well, but if you just suggest those Alankaras but not mention them directly, then they actually had even more beauty to the kavya. Yesham achyatve sharirikaranam na vyavasthitam te alankaraha dhvani angatam gatah. When they become an anga of the dhvani, param chayam yanti, they bring great beauty to the poem. So third and fourth, very less portion is there. So in the third Udyota, further we have how earlier what we saw of Venchaka, based on Venchaka, how it came on the based on the word, it was no, here it is based on the word. Earlier it was Vengya, based on the meaning how it was. So talking about Venchaka, the word itself, he says that just the word can convey something, or will you take the entire sentence that can mean something. So let's see what is here. Example of Vakya Prakashata in Atyanta Viraskrita. So the entire Vakya is showing light on something. Let's see what it is. Yanisha sarvabhutanam tasya jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sanisha pashyato munehe. So in Gita it is said that sages, they consider night, they are awake during the night, and in the daytime it is night time for them. What is day for others is night for them. So here it is not about literally that it is about daytime or night time and how whether they stay awake or they sleep. What it actually suggests is what people consider as real, for them they know it is just a dream. So they know the reality of the world, and they have that spiritual alertness. So that is what is being indicated there. So here it is Vakya Prakasha. From the entire sentence, we take it is a suggestive sentence and not suggestive word. So these are the two categories within Atyanta Tiraskrita Vachya Dhvani. So where you just discard one word, it becomes just the word is being discarded, but where you discard the entire sentence in Atyanta Tiraskrita, it becomes Vakya Prakashita. And third chapter discusses about Sanghatana, or the different types of compositions. He says there are three types of texture or composition. Asamasa, samasena madhyamena cha bhushita, tata dirgha samaseti tridha sanghatanodita. So there are three types. One is asamasa, without any compounds, madhyamena samasena bhushita, having medium compounds, and dirgha samasa, long compounds. And he's again relating to the gunas like madhuryam, that is the sweetness, and how in that it should match the kind of samasa and all. See, if you are fighting somebody and all, in those cases you can have like dirgha samasa and complex words and all that. But say in Vipralamba Shringara and all that, it has to have only madhurya. It has to be very sweet, and prasada is how they are able to articulate, making it very easy for the people to understand. So likewise, the ojas, or the forcefulness, it goes with the specific rasa of Raudra rasa and Adbhuta and all. So when somebody is surprised, they are in wonder, they might they might describe it in detail with long Dirgha samasas and all that. So basically the idea is it should match what is the type of composition. It should match the rasa there. And here is where it comes. Avoid rasabhanga by avoiding anauchitya. Anauchitya is to be avoided. So anauchitya dhrute nanya rasabhangasya karanam prasiddhauchitya bandhastu rasasyopanishat para. So anauchitya dhrute, leaving anauchitya, there cannot be any reason for rasabhanga. Rasabhanga will be caused only by anauchitya. Anauchitya dhrute na anyat rasabhangasya karanam prasiddha auchitya bandha. By using the very commonly well-known appropriate aspects, rasasyopanishad para. So that is the secret. Upanishad here means secret. So rasasya, greatest secret of rasa is anauchitya. Auchitya. Using the appropriate, what is appropriate, when you use things in the appropriate way, then your rasa will be enhanced. If there is anauchitya, that will cause only bhanga to the rasa.
Here, Nivedita, if there is short notes, tippani comes for anauchitya, we can also point that this particular verse has inspired Vamana to write the entire auchitya theory. That is what is mentioned. Yeah,
Vamana wrote something on auchitya, is it?
Vamana is the person for auchitya. Like Vamana is the one who defined auchitya later. This is mentioned.
But who is this Kashmiri poet Kshemendra who wrote Auchitya Vichara Charcha?
Hey, that's Vamana. Wait. Vamana said he wrote Kavyalankara Sutra Vritti. Sorry. Wait.
Kshemendra wrote Auchitya Vichara Charcha. You should use it appropriately, be it Guna, Alankara, Vritti, Pravritti, whatever it is. It should be appropriate, otherwise it will become a laughing stock. Yeah,
Kshemendra. Vamanas is Riti, Kshemendras is Auchitya Vichara Charcha. Correct.
So then, example of suggestion through Kridanta. This is an interesting one. So he goes on to explain how various aspects of the words that are being used could result in suggestions. Harini, check this one out. Atikranta sukah kala pratyupastita darunaha swashvaha papiya divasa prithvi gata yavvana. So here atikranta shukaha, all the sukha happiness have all gone. Kalaha pratyupastita daruna. So the time, what is going to come, those are all going to be only difficult times. Swaha papiya divasa. Day by day it is becoming more sinful only. Prithvi gata yavvana. The Mother Earth has lost her youthfulness. So here the suggestion here is through using the Kridanta. Atikrantaha, pratyupastitaha, gataha. By using those terms, the suggestion is even more. Atikrantaha sukaha. Instead of explicitly saying agachat or using it in that sense, using a normal kriyapadam, by using these kridantaha, the feeling is further enhanced. And also the bahuvachanam, even by vachanam, even by using the kridanta, tadidanta, all these also could result in enhancing the rasa, is what he says. So here atikranta sukaha, here atikranta, the kridanta, usage of kridanta also causes us to understand the feeling better, experience the feeling better. And the plural part of it, atikrantaha sukha, all the happiness have gone. Kalaha, whatever is going to come is going to be very depressing. So by saying happiness is lost or bad days are coming, here the usage of those bahuvachana is also adding to the suggestion. And even if we take that Prithvi Gata Yavvana, so literally the earth cannot become lose its youthfulness, but here this is Atyanta Tiraskrita Vachya, wherein we totally discard that meaning and we take a different meaning of what bad has happened to the earth. So this is such an example where different aspects of the word could enhance the dhvani. And he stresses that the prominent rasa, I think I'll be able to complete by 12:30. The next thing is one prominent rasa should be present. Prasiddhopi prabandhanam nana rasa nibandhane eko raso angīkartavyah tesham utkarshamichata. Okay, eko rasa angīkartavyah. Only one rasa has to be made as prominent one. So anga and angi, there could be multiple angas, multiple limbs, but the angi, the main body that holds all this limb, has to be one. So that way, so from start to end, there has to be one rasa that runs totally, and there can be other rasas that just come and go. Prasiddha Nana Rasa Nibandhane Api. So it is quite famous that a poet has to show that he is capable of bringing out different emotions. It can't be in a sad story there is only crying and nobody is smiling there. So even in that there will be a mixture of all rasa. Prasiddha Nana Rasa Nibandhane Api Prabandhanam. In a entire prabandha, when you take the work as a whole, Tesham Utkarsham Ichchata Kavina. A poet who wants to his work to be great, the prabandham to come out well, he should fix on one as the angi rasa, and that way he goes on to Anandavardhana is the first one to analyze a prabandha as a whole and bring it out. He does it for Ramayana, Mahabharata. So here he says insertion of opposed sentiments. So does it mean I should never bring in an opposed sentiments? He's clarifying that Satyam Manorama Ramaha, Satyam Ramya. So this is an example for inserting the opposed sentiments. So Satyam Manorama Ramaha. Yeah, it is true that the Ramaha Manoramaha, the women are very pleasing to the heart. Satyam Ramya Vibhutayah. Vibhuti, all the wealth and other things that we can gain. So they are also quite, we fall for them. So Satyam, that is also true. So it tends as though is he praising women and is he praising worldly wealth and pleasures, though the first statement seems that way. Kintu Mattanganapanga Bhangalolam hi Jeevitam. But immediately the next verse he is mentioning the demeaning the earlier ones. No, they are not so good. A far better one is this, and he points out that how Jeevitam is, how really life is. So life is like, it is so transient. So how the transitory nature of life is shown with a kind of an example. Mattangana Panga Bhanga Lolam. So Matta Angana, one who is intoxicated with love. So that kind of a lady, when she looks at you, when she gives a quick glance, so Bangalolam. So it is the movement is truncated in between, is incomplete, it is stopped in between. Bangalolam, whose movement, Apanga, her eyes, she just moves only little bit, like how transient her glance is. Same way, the Jeevitam is also temporary. So by bringing in an opposite sentiment, again in the next one he brings out even better the intended sentiment. So he is pointing out that it is okay as long as it enhances your original rasa. Last Udyota, Chaturtha Udyota. So this is where he analyzes the Prabandha. He says Ramayane hi Karuno Rasaha. He says though you can find Shingara, especially Vipralamba Shingara, Karuna Krodha, Veera, everything, Valmiki himself says that shokah shlokatvam agatah. So that sorrow is the main sthayi bhava in the entire Ramayana, and right from the beginning till the end, when Sita leaves Rama and goes, it is all that shoka that is there. So if we are asked to say what is the prominent rasa, the Angi rasa of Ramayana, it has to be only Karuna. And similarly for Mahabharata, he points out that it has to be, it is both a Shastra, that is the beauty of Mahabharata, it is both a Shastra and a Kavya. So as a Shastra, it Moksha Dharma only, it points out to Moksha Dharma. And in the Kavya also, it keeps saying, Vasudeva eva param, he is Sanatanaha, we need to worship Vasudeva and also. That again here it indicates the Brahman, it can't be that Krishna is eternal. We know that Krishna also lives. So here, since the main intent of Mahabharata is to show that you might have so many different kind of experiences, but ultimately it all culminates into that Shanta. So in Mahabharata, Shanta is the main rasa. Here the Anukramani is there, which is like a table of contents. Though the term Shanta doesn't explicitly find a place there, it still we can see how various they have various positions, they have worldly positions and all that, but yet the goal is always directed towards moksha. So that way, this Shanta Rasa is only there in Mahabharata. Then fourth Udhyota, from our exam point of view, the most important thing is Samvada, or the correspondence or similarity of thought. This is the last point, I guess. Yeah, this is the last point. We'll end with this. The prominent, the Samvadastu bhavanti eva bahulyena sumedasam. So you can't avoid Samvada. Great men think like somebody gets a thought, similar thought, another person can also get. So Samvadaha tu bhavanti eva. They happen always. They just happen. Bahulyena sumedasam. Especially in case of Sumedas, bright men, their ideas they tend to coincide, and sthitam hi etat samvadinye eva medhavinam buddhayah kintu naika rupataya sarve te mantavya vipaschita. So he tells the audience or the readers that when you see something resembling, you shouldn't directly conclude that no, he has copied that idea. We should be, he clarifies what is allowed and what is not acceptable when there is this samvada or correspondence. So this plagiarism or stealing someone's work, he clearly says what is allowed and what is not allowed. Clarifying on what are the different types of samvada, he says tat punaha sharirinam pratibimbavat. Sharirinam pratibimbavat is like a image, reflection. Pratibimbavat avadalokya karyavat. So when a picture is drawn, you see somebody and draw a picture looking at them. So that is the second type. And third one is tulya dehivat cha, sharirinam tulya dehivat. So two people having similar body structure, it is like that. So here so one is just reflection, whatever is there, the same thing has come over here. Another, you have tried to copy that, you have looked at the boy and tried to make a picture of him. The third one is two people are same, but they have their own individuality, they just resemble each other, that's all. So here he says tatra purvam ananyat atma. So tatra purvam ananyatma. Ananyatma means na anyatma. So there is no new soul, there is no individuality in the first case, the pratibindam, there is no individuality. Tuchatma tata anantaram. The next one is not praiseworthy. it is inferior. Tuchatma. Second one is also inferior. Only looking at them, you have tried to make one more. Tritiyam tu Prasiddhatma. The third one is he has his own existence, individuality. Na anya samyam tyajet kavihi. So this kind of similarity poet should not try to avoid. So he also tries to say something, but it has its own individuality. Then it is a good thing, and he need not have to avoid doing it. And actually, he kind of encourages them doing, trying to have their own ideas, and says that even Saraswati will help. परस्वादन इच्छा विरत मनसः वस्तु सुकवेः सरस्वती एव एषा घटयति यथेष्टं भगवती भगवती सरस्वती एषा किं करोति यथेष्टं घटयति she will make you have a lot as much as required of what vastu sukavehe vastu the ideas, that is the good poet's ideas. Saraswati will make sure you get as much as needed. And Kidrishaha Sukavihi Parasvadana Icha Viratah Manasah. So they don't have the intention to steal somebody else's thought. So those people who are devoid of such interest in their mind for such Kavi, Sukavi, Saraswati will make sure they get the sufficient ideas, whatever is required. The ideas are all got. So with this, it covers the important. Just listed down important quotations that have been asked from the exams, and I've just covered them at a high level. Any questions? Otherwise, we can close.
Yeah, about memorizing the verses, like you want to memorize the example shlokas also. How are you planning to go about it?
Not sure. These are the ones. If at all something has to be memorized from Dhvanyaaloka, these are the verses. So I'll be posting this in my blog.
I made a list.
We'll attempt. We'll try to remember this. I don't know how much it is worth it, and this is not the only subject. There are other subjects and there are more verses. But if at all somebody has the time and has the intention to memorize something, probably these are the main verses that we should attempt.
In the exam question papers, they will give 4 or 5 shlokas, verses, to elaborate on, and we can use those to quote for long answer.
Yeah, that you can do. And one more point here is that if you see the exam question,
record these shlokas. So I was wondering if I should include the example shlokas or only stick to the definition part of it. Hello?
I don't know. The point here is, Divya, you unmute yourself. See here, the point here is, if you see the question paper, only a part of the verses given, even for example ones. So, Shikarani Panunama, only if that much is given. If you to answer this question, you need to actually write down the full verse, and only it makes sense. So that way, whatever has been listed here, I would say all of them are important. And I'll add that all these shlokas, I'll just include them at the end of this video, so that when I publish it, even those will be there.
I think like we should try to memorize. Otherwise, at least one line of a verse at least will come to our mind in the exam. So that that's what we could do. Start the beginning of the shloka and put ... at least that much, and we would remember the meaning, so we can elaborate it in English or Kannada.
Okay, I'll just stop the broadcast. We'll continue our discussion.
Okay. One